Have you ever scrolled through your social media feed and felt a little unsure about what's real and what's not? Maybe it was a message from someone you don't remember meeting, or a post that seemed too dramatic to believe. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Later in life, more and more of us are connecting online, keeping up with friends, joining groups, sharing memories. And while the digital world opens doors to wonderful connections, it can also be filled with hidden risks that are easy to miss if you're not watching closely. Social media can be a lovely place to feel connected, but it can also be a playground for scammers and those with dishonest intentions. They're clever, and they're counting on people trusting too quickly or clicking without thinking. That's why this conversation matters so much. Protecting your privacy and safety online doesn't mean shutting down your social life. It means learning simple ways to enjoy it without worry. Let's begin by talking about something that often catches people off guard: friend requests. That little add friend button might seem harmless, especially when it's attached to a friendly photo and a familiar sounding name. But not everyone is who they appear to be. Some scammers create fake profiles, using stolen pictures and common names to build a sense of trust. They might even copy the names of real people, hoping you won't notice small differences. That's why it's important to pause before accepting a request, especially if you don't clearly recognize the person or if their profile has very little activity or strange comments. A quick message to a mutual friend can sometimes reveal whether the profile is genuine or not. Another area that deserves a second look is the kind of information you share publicly. It's natural to want to post about exciting events, family news, or a well-earned vacation. But when too much personal detail is available on your profile, it can give the wrong people a clear window into your life. Things like your hometown, pets' names, birth dates, or even the dates you'll be away from home can all be used by scammers to guess your passwords or plan their next move. Privacy settings are there for a reason, and they're easier to adjust than many people think. With just a few clicks, you can choose exactly who sees what. That way, you stay in control of your personal space, even online. Then there's messaging. If someone you barely know starts chatting with you out of the blue, especially if they're overly friendly or asking for favors, that's a red flag. It might start with flattery or compliments. It could shift to asking about your day, your finances, or even suggesting romance or urgent help. This kind of approach is part of a larger pattern that many scams follow. They build emotional trust before making a request, often for money, gift cards, or private details. It's not rude to stop the conversation. In fact, it's one of the smartest things you can do. Ending a message chain when it feels off is a way of setting boundaries, just like in everyday life. Keeping your account secure also plays a big role in staying safe. Choosing a strong password might sound like a basic tip, but it's the kind of basic that works. Try avoiding anything that relates to your name, pets, or birthdays. Those are easy guesses for someone looking to get in. A mixture of letters, numbers, and symbols, preferably something unique and random, can go a long way. And if your platform offers it, turning on two-step verification adds an extra layer of protection. It's a small extra step that makes a big difference. Now that we've looked at the way people can reach out to you, the next part of this journey is about understanding how your activity online can be interpreted by others and what that means for your safety. When you're scrolling, reading posts, or even leaving comments, it's easy to forget that everything you interact with shapes the way others see your presence online. And while your intentions may be kind and genuine, not everyone who watches from the sidelines shares those same values. That's why it's helpful to be mindful of how your online behavior might appear to people you don't know personally. Something as simple as reacting to a questionable post or resharing an article without reading the source can open you up to unexpected interactions or even spread misinformation without realizing it. Social media platforms are designed to keep you engaged, but they also make it easy for misleading information to travel far. Some of it may sound persuasive or even emotionally stirring, which is why it spreads so fast. Articles with exaggerated claims, dramatic headlines, or alarming health advice are often shared rapidly, especially in community groups. But before hitting that share button, take a breath and ask yourself, does this come from a source I trust? Is the information current and backed by real evidence? There are entire websites built to look like news outlets, but their goal is to trick you, not inform you. Taking a moment to verify what you're reading protects not only you, but also those in your circle who trust what you post. There's also the issue of fake giveaways and misleading ads. These often look like innocent contests or special offers, claiming you've won something or can get a huge discount just by clicking a link. Sometimes they show up in your feed, other times they're disguised as messages from a page you follow. And they can be so convincing: colorful banners, real-looking company logos, even familiar product names. But what they really want is your personal details or financial information. Real businesses never ask for banking info through a random link or ask you to pay for a prize you've supposedly won. If something feels a bit too convenient or exciting, that's often the biggest clue it's not what it seems. In the middle of all this digital noise, it's easy to feel uncertain about which voices to trust. One helpful approach is to stick with official sources when it comes to important matters like health, finance, or community updates. Most government departments, banks, and major health organizations have verified social media accounts or websites with the correct information. If someone messages you claiming to be from one of these organizations, but it seems rushed or personal, it's okay to step back. Open a new window, find their official contact details, and double-check. That small action could spare you a lot of stress. Group chats and online communities can also be wonderful places to share stories, ask questions, and connect with others. But even there, it's important to be cautious. Sometimes these groups get infiltrated by people pretending to be friendly just to gather information. It might start with a cheerful welcome message and quickly shift into private conversations or odd requests. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, you can always leave the group or report suspicious behavior. Just as you wouldn't leave your front door open to strangers, the same applies to your digital doorstep. Staying curious, asking questions, and setting healthy boundaries online are all part of building digital confidence. There's strength in knowing you can enjoy the benefits of connection without giving up your safety or peace of mind. From here, it becomes just as important to consider how devices themselves play a role in your security and how small changes in how you use them can create a more secure, more comfortable experience. Think about how often we use phones, tablets, or computers without really pausing to consider how secure they are. It's easy to assume that everything's running just fine as long as the screen lights up and the app's open. But the truth is, the way you set up and use your device has a big influence on your online protection. One of the most overlooked steps is simply keeping your software up to date. Those little update reminders that pop up now and then, they're not just about adding new features. They often include important fixes that close the doors hackers use to sneak in. Ignoring them for too long is like leaving your window open during a storm. Things can slip through when you're not paying attention. Another habit that can quietly put your security at risk is saving passwords directly into your browser without any protection. It might seem convenient, especially if remembering all those logins feels like a chore, but it's also something cybercriminals are counting on. A safer option is to use a dedicated password manager app, one that stores your passwords securely behind a single master code. That way, you can keep your details private without having to memorize everything. Many of these tools are designed to be user-friendly, even for those who aren't tech-savvy, and once you get used to them, they actually make life easier, not harder. Let's not forget about public Wi-Fi. It's common to connect to it at coffee shops, airports, or even parks, but these networks often lack the safety measures you'd find at home. What you see on your screen might feel private, but in reality, others connected to that same network can sometimes snoop on what you're doing. If you need to check something sensitive, like banking or shopping, it's best to wait until you're on a secure connection you trust. Or if it's unavoidable, you can look into a virtual private network, or VPN, which creates a safe tunnel between you and the internet, no matter where you are. There's also something comforting about knowing how to check your device's security settings. Most smartphones and tablets offer simple ways to see which apps have access to things like your location, camera, and microphone. Taking a few minutes to review those settings every now and then can prevent apps from collecting more than they should. Sometimes an app might quietly turn on features in the background without asking you directly, so this kind of regular check-in helps you stay in charge. Now, even with all the right habits in place, sometimes things still go wrong. If you ever notice something strange, a sudden change in how your device behaves, messages you didn't send, or apps you didn't install, it's perfectly okay to ask for help. Reaching out to someone you trust, or calling a tech support line, can stop a small issue from turning into something bigger. Being cautious doesn't mean being afraid. It means being empowered to take control and respond with confidence. The digital world isn't something to fear, even later in life. It's a space that, when used wisely, can bring joy, connection, learning, and support into your everyday routine. Your experience, your stories, and your voice all have a place in that space, and staying safe simply makes it easier to share them with peace of mind. By being thoughtful, asking questions, and learning a little more every day, you turn the internet from a place of risk into a tool of empowerment. So here's to staying connected, protected, and confident, because enjoying life online should always feel just as secure as living it offline.